According to the National Electrical Code, the area described is considered a kitchen because it contains food preparation equipment, sinks, and service counters. Therefore, as per NEC Section 210.8 B3-2002, all 15 amps and 20 amps receptacles in the kitchen area, including those located on the service counters, must be ground fault circuit interrupter (GFCI) protected. This requirement is in place to enhance electrical safety in areas where water and electrical appliances are commonly used together. Regarding the use of demand factors for calculating the electrical load, you can apply the demand factors specified in NEC Section 220.20 for the preparation appliances. These appliances typically include items such as coffee brewers, coffee grinders, espresso machines, cappuccino machines, and iced coffee machines. The demand factor allows for a reduction in the calculated load since these appliances are not likely to operate simultaneously at their maximum power. However, the ice machine and under-counter refrigerators are generally not considered kitchen equipment under the definition of 220.20. Therefore, the demand factor cannot be applied to these specific appliances. They must be calculated at their full load current. In situations where you choose not to use the demand factors outlined in NEC Section 220.20 for the individual appliances, the demand factors specified in NEC Section 220.36 for restaurants do not apply. Section 220.36 is specifically designed for restaurant installations which have different load characteristics and operational profiles than a small food preparation area in an office building. This installation is not considered a restaurant. To further clarify the application of the National Electrical Code, let's delve deeper into each of these points. Firstly, concerning GFCI protection, the requirement for GFCI protection in kitchen areas is based on the increased risk of electrical shock due to the presence of water and conductive surfaces. The GFCI device is designed to detect even small imbalances in the current flowing through the circuit. If an imbalance is detected, indicating a potential ground fault, the GFCI will quickly trip the circuit, cutting off the power and preventing electrical shock. The 2002 edition of the NEC Section 210.8 B3 specifically addresses GFCI protection for receptacles in kitchen areas. This requirement extends to all 15 amps and 20 amps, 120 volts and 240 volts receptacles serving countertop areas, and, in this case, also includes those on the service counter, even if they are located opposite the preparation equipment. This is because the service counter is still considered part of the kitchen environment. Secondly, when applying demand factors according to NEC Section 220.20 for the preparation appliances, it is important to accurately assess the load characteristics of each appliance. The demand factor is a percentage by which the total connected load can be reduced when calculating the service or feeder size. The rationale behind using a demand factor is that not all appliances will operate at their maximum load simultaneously. For example, the coffee brewers may cycle on and off, and the espresso machine may only be used intermittently. By applying a demand factor, the calculated load can be more accurately reflect the actual load that the electrical system will experience. The National Electrical Code provides tables and guidelines for determining appropriate demand factors for various types of equipment. It is crucial to select the correct demand factor based on the specific characteristics of the appliances and the anticipated usage patterns. However, it is important to note that the ice machine and under-counter refrigerators are not considered kitchen equipment for the purpose of applying the demand factor in 220.20. These appliances are typically considered continuous loads. This means that they are expected to operate continuously for extended periods. Therefore, they must be calculated at 125% of their full load current. Finally, it is essential to understand why the demand factors in NEC Section 220.36 for restaurants are not applicable in this situation. Section 220.36 is specifically tailored to the load characteristics of restaurants, which typically have a wide variety of cooking equipment, lighting, and other loads that operate at different times and with different demand patterns. Restaurants often have a large kitchen area with multiple cooking stations, ovens, fryers, and other high-power equipment. The demand factors in 220.36 take into account the diversity of these loads and the likelihood that not all equipment will operate at its maximum load simultaneously. In contrast, the small food preparation area in the office building has a more limited range of equipment and a different operational profile. The load is primarily concentrated on the preparation appliances, the ice machine, and the under-counter refrigerators. The demand patterns are also likely to be more consistent and predictable than in a restaurant setting. Therefore, the demand factors in 220.36 are not appropriate for this type of installation. In summary, the electrical design for the small food preparation area should adhere to the following principles. Firstly, all 15 amps and 20 amps receptacles in the kitchen area, including those on the service counter, must be GFCI protected according to NEC section 210.8 b3. Secondly, the demand factors in NEC section 220.20 can be applied to the preparation appliances such as coffee brewers, coffee grinders, espresso machines, cappuccino machines, and iced coffee machines, based on their load characteristics and anticipated usage patterns. Thirdly, the ice machine and under-counter refrigerators should not be included in the demand factor calculation and must be calculated at 125% of their full load current. Fourthly, the demand factors in NEC section 220.36 for restaurants are not applicable to this installation. By following these guidelines, the electrical system can be designed to provide adequate capacity, ensure safety, and comply with the requirements of the National Electrical Code. Furthermore, let's consider some practical implications of these code requirements. For the GFCI protection, it's critical to select appropriate GFCI receptacles or circuit breakers that are rated for the intended use and environment. Regular testing of the GFCI devices is recommended to ensure they are functioning correctly. This can be done by pressing the test button on the GFCI receptacle or circuit breaker. If the device does not trip when the test button is pressed, it should be replaced immediately. When applying demand factors, it is essential to document the calculations and assumptions used to determine the demand factor. This documentation should be kept with the electrical design drawings and specifications for future reference. It is also important to consider the potential for future expansion or changes in the load. If there is a possibility that additional equipment may be added in the future, the electrical system should be designed with sufficient capacity to accommodate the additional load. Moreover, it is crucial to coordinate the electrical design with other building systems such as the plumbing and mechanical systems. This coordination will help to ensure that the electrical system is properly integrated with the other building systems and that there are no conflicts or interference. Additionally, consider the specific requirements of the local electrical authority. Local codes and regulations may have additional requirements or modifications to the National Electrical Code. It is essential to consult with the local electrical authority to ensure that the electrical design complies with all applicable codes and regulations. Let's elaborate on the selection of GFCI devices. GFCI receptacles are available in various configurations, including standard receptacles, decorator receptacles, and weather-resistant receptacles. The choice of receptacle depends on the specific application and environmental conditions. For example, weather-resistant receptacles should be used in damp or wet locations. GFCI circuit breakers are also an option, particularly for protecting entire branch circuits. GFCI circuit breakers provide the same level of protection as GFCI receptacles but offer the advantage of protecting all devices connected to the circuit. In addition to selecting the appropriate GFCI device, it is also essential to install it correctly. GFCI receptacles and circuit breakers must be wired according to the manufacturer's instructions. Incorrect wiring can render the GFCI device ineffective and create a safety hazard. Proper grounding is also crucial for GFCI protection. The grounding system provides a path for fault current to flow back to the source, allowing the GFCI device to detect the fault and trip the circuit. The grounding system must be installed in accordance with the National Electrical Code. Furthermore, let's explore the process of calculating demand factors in more detail. The demand factor is typically expressed as a percentage or a decimal. For example, a demand factor of 0.8 means that the calculated load can be reduced by 20%. The National Electrical Code provides tables of demand factors for various types of equipment and occupancies. These tables are based on historical data and statistical analysis of actual load patterns. When using demand factors, it is important to understand the assumptions and limitations of the tables. The demand factors in the tables are based on average conditions and may not be applicable to all situations. In some cases, it may be necessary to conduct a load study to determine the actual demand factor for a specific installation. A load study involves measuring the actual current draw of the equipment over a period of time. The data collected during the load study can be used to calculate the demand factor. Additionally, it is crucial to consider the impact of energy-efficient equipment on demand factors. Energy-efficient appliances and equipment consume less power than traditional models. This can result in a low demand factor and a smaller calculated load. However, it is important to verify the actual power consumption of the energy-efficient equipment before applying a reduced demand factor. Let's also examine the requirements for calculating the load of the ice machine and under-counter refrigerators. As mentioned earlier, these appliances are typically considered continuous loads and must be calculated at 125% of their full load current. The full load current of the appliance can be found on the nameplate of the appliance. The nameplate typically provides information such as the voltage, amperage, and wattage of the appliance. To calculate the load of the appliance, multiply the full load current by 1.25. For example, if an ice machine has a full load current of 10 amps, the calculated load would be 12.5 amps. This calculated load must be included in the overall load calculation for the electrical system. It is also important to consider the voltage drop in the circuit feeding the ice machine and under-counter refrigerators. Voltage drop occurs when the voltage at the appliance is lower than the voltage at the source due to the resistance of the conductors. Excessive voltage drop can cause the appliance to operate inefficiently or even fail. The National Electrical Code provides guidelines for calculating voltage drop. It is essential to ensure that the voltage drop in the circuit is within acceptable limits. In addition to the above considerations, it is also important to address the issue of harmonics. Harmonics are distortions in the sinusoidal waveform of the alternating current. Harmonics can be caused by nonlinear loads, such as electronic equipment and variable frequency drives. Harmonics can cause a variety of problems in the electrical system, including overheating of conductors and equipment, malfunction of sensitive electronic devices, and increased energy losses. It may be necessary to install harmonic filters to mitigate the effects of harmonics. Harmonic filters are devices that are designed to reduce the level of harmonics in the electrical system. The selection and installation of harmonic filters should be performed by a qualified electrical engineer. Finally, let's discuss the importance of proper documentation. Accurate and complete documentation is essential for the safe and efficient operation of the electrical system. The documentation should include detailed drawings of the electrical system, including the location of all equipment, wiring diagrams, and panel schedules. The documentation should also include load calculations, demand factor calculations, and voltage drop calculations. The documentation should be kept in a safe and accessible location. It is also important to update the documentation whenever changes are made to the electrical system. Proper documentation will facilitate troubleshooting, maintenance, and future modifications to the electrical system. In conclusion, designing the electrical system for this small food preparation area requires careful attention to detail and a thorough understanding of the National Electrical Code. By following the guidelines outlined above, the electrical system can be designed to provide adequate capacity, ensure safety, and comply with all applicable codes and regulations.